click.
The notification was not lying. Okay, now it's live.
Oh. Well, then
So
we'll just start over.
now I don't know if we lost the entire 20 minutes or if it was just unpublished. Oh my
Yeah. I
god.
do not mind starting over.
Because I saw the preview that was running, and so I thought, oh, okay, it's fine. But apparently on YouTube, you also have to click on go live. Like you have to click 4 freaking buttons to go live. Oh my god.
Yeah, well, those are the mistakes you make only once.
Okay, well, okay, people, I don't know, whatever. I don't know if what we just spoke about will be available in the broadcast, in the saved broadcast. I really hope it will, but I have my doubts. It's a bit sad because it was a very, very nice beginning. But yeah, we possibly lost 20 minutes of streaming.
At least you know me better now.
Yeah, it's sad though, because now the understanding, it's only on me on that part. But yeah, just to do a quick recap, this is my outfit of today. Whatever, my heating didn't work, it wasn't planned. We have Tael here. The interviews are going to be different. I'm not going to ask much OP related question. I'm asking generic life questions to have the interviews act as some sort of additional typing videos, something like that, because that's kind of what's missing right now in the interviews of the community. So I'm really trying to get into some specific aspects of the person and not of the type of the person. Now, I was asking Tael before realizing that the stream did not properly go live, and now I am 100% sure that it's live.
Yeah, I double checked.
I was asking Tael about his life as a teacher, and he was telling me about how he ended up becoming a teacher, the fact that he was doing 1 year of university. What was the university?
Architecture.
Sorry? Oh, architecture. Yeah, he was doing 1 year in architecture. Then he dropped out. Decided after some circumstances with a person saying, "Oh, do you want to teach programming stuff to kids?" Decided to become a teacher, and that's the backstory. And then we were talking about how he tends to forget. Well, not how he tends to forget. Sorry, how at some point after a pause he realized that he had forgotten the names of the kids he was teaching to, and so he made it a game of remembering the names to like regain the respect of the kids. After forgetting the names. And so I was really interested in that because it kind of shows the difference with me, with the masculinity on the sensory and stuff like that. And yeah, then I think you mentioned something else. Oh yeah, about the flowers.
Yeah.
And it was particularly amazed that the other teachers were bringing you flowers, if I remember.
The school board, the directors.
Okay. He was particularly amazed by that. And I guess that was pretty much it. Have I forgot anything in
And
particular?
that the one where the kid went up to me like,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that a kid, he was talking about how usually once he teaches, he just forgets about the kids entirely, and then coincidentally, he found a kid that told him, "Oh yeah, you really taught me to do this. I thought I wasn't able to do this, and you really taught me to." And he was really, really happy about that. So this is the summary, just in case it's not picked up by the freaking YouTube channel.
Yeah, good
And
recap.
Okay, I managed to do a 20 minutes recap in 2 minutes. The blasting is on point.
Awesome.
The blasting is on point. Okay. And so I guess we can go to the next question, which this time will be properly stored in the freaking video. So, next question is exactly about programming. So, I was curious, is it programming like just a hobby for you? Did you do it as a job at any point? Like,
Yeah.
how is that? How does that fit in your life, generally speaking?
Let's see. When I must have been 12 years old. There was this game I was playing, Growl Online, and it had a level editor with a little scripting language, which I found a lot of fun. Um, really got me into level design and scripting and games. But then a few years later, I got a girlfriend, and the girlfriend was like, "Yeah, programmers are boring." So I was like, oh, I will not be a programmer. This is not interesting. I'm going to do something else. I did do something else.
Okay.
And at some point in my life, it just circled back around it. I was like, hey, but back then I did actually find that fun. So that's when I went to college for it. Um, these days, it's not necessarily my job as much as a skill at a professional level. I do still frequently use it in my work. I do make apps for museums or whatever, like a tour of the museum, and then you get all these pictures you can click on and stuff I can use. But it's not really my day-to-day business. That's more the teaching itself. Um, that said, I do still frequently do it as a hobby, just to keep sharp.
Okay. That's that's a really nice overview. And so I know you also do the Advent of Code. How
Yeah. Oh,
long how long have you been doing that, more or less?
I have started in 2018, and I went back and did the years before that as well. So I currently have an absolutely perfect record.
Okay. Okay. Like that's kind of interesting to me because I think I kind of already mentioned this to you, but I'm not. I never feel drawn towards that kind of little challenges, even when it's more. Even when it's more, let's say, public, like for example, let's say it's a Google
Yeah.
competition or something like that. There's something about that is just I don't know, it's like the scope of those exercises is
Yeah.
so generalized that I like my brain doesn't see the value in remembering that specific instance as something that I would be using in my daily coding experience, let's say.
Yeah.
Or like I would use, I don't know, 10% of that, and the rest is like time wasted, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Okay.
I was wondering if you like if you have any idea of what really attracts you to that kind of.
Yeah. Okay. So the Advent of Code is like a programming puzzle, so to speak. Uh, for the entirety of December, every day it's an Advent calendar. So every day you get a new puzzle you have to solve. Um, on the one hand, I really like the challenge of it. It is not easy, definitely not easy, but it is within my skill level, so that makes it. Yeah, how do I phrase that? Um, it's like when you have games or you have puzzles, you always want to make sure that the challenge and the skill is right about the same level to
Yeah,
get into the flow.
you want to stay in the flow, basically,
Yeah, exactly.
in the flow
And
state.
the difficulty level of Advent of Code is right at about that level for me. So that's actually very nice. Um, which means it gives me feelings of competence and joy, and very much a sense of completionism, like getting to do every single one and not missing any. Um, it's a source of pride, so to speak. I have used it in the past to learn new languages, because the way to think about those puzzles is not really dependent on the language. So it's a really good way to see if I can implement that in different kinds of programming languages. But mostly and mainly, because I don't really do this programming as a day-to-day thing, really having to sit down and relearn everything I lost every year keeps it, like I mentioned, very sharp.
Okay. Okay. I
So
see.
many reasons I can come up with.
Okay, okay, I see, I see. It's definitely way different from how I perceive things of that kind. But I like it's a 100% good reasoning. So I guess it's really a matter of approach
Yeah,
and what someone or how someone really wants to learn, improve, and yeah, and stuff like that.
yeah,
But by the way, I was thinking, it just came to mind while you were talking about that the incident from a few minutes ago about the live stream, it's both a demon consume on both our sides, because like none of us checked, like none of us had the actual, well, it was actually my responsibility in this case, but
yeah,
none of us had the freaking link of the stream open.
yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
whatever. It's freaking YouTube. I'm used to stream on Twitch, so
yeah,
whatever. So that was the question about the programming.
yeah,
Now I have a more personal slash potentially weird. Well, no, it's actually not weird, but it's a much more personal question. So in the interview with Benjamin, you talked about your life a little bit, the fact that you have kids, that you have a wife, and you mentioned that although you're married, like you've been married for around 2 years, if I'm correct,
yeah,
you said that you are in the relationship, like you've been in the relationship for more than 10 years. Is that
yeah,
correct?
yeah.
So I'm kind of curious, like, how did that happen? How did you meet your girlfriend? Like, any funny anecdote that comes to mind that you were like, I don't know, this
Yeah.
person, or any literally anything that
Yeah.
comes to mind that it's funny or whatever.
Okay. Okay. So, um, digging back into the past again.
Hmm.
At some point, I must have been 14 at that point. I had a lot of friends all into anime, and we met on some sort of market, I guess, where this anime lady was selling her artworks. It was a famous lady. Um, and while we were walking there, some other random person's phone went off, and it was a Zelda ringtone. And both me and a friend of mine were very much into Zelda at that point. I mean, still are. So we went like, "Oh, you are amazing! You have a Zelda ringtone. This is so cool. How awesome are you?" We drew them into our friends group. Um, Skip forward 6 years. That person, specifically that person, had a relationship with my current wife, who I only met 6 years after that.
Okay.
Um, so I am actually the person who brought in the ex of my current wife only to take my current wife from, and I'm afraid we are no longer friends.
Ouch.
Um, yeah, that's a thing. Uh, but that was I'm thinking 2011, so that's a good 13 years ago now, 12, 13 years ago. And at that point, um, it was like, oh yeah, that's a bit awkward. But their relationship lasted only 2 years, and mine now a good 13 years. So at some point, it kind of shifted from, okay, I stole her, to, okay, yeah, that's obviously X, and we are wonderful together.
Okay.
But that is a dramatic backstory.
Interesting. Yeah, it's I'm trying to pay attention to freaking autofocus stuff. I'm trying to pay attention to the way that you're sharing the story.
Yeah.
And by the way, since you mentioned Zelda, I don't know if you noticed earlier when my notification came on my phone, it was a listen of the Navi ferry,
Yeah.
whatever. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm trying right now. I'm trying to kinda see if the very feeble observations that I have about the modalities are tracking, and it seems it kind of does, because if you've noticed, the questions that I'm asking you are very like I'm making you grab stuff from the
Yeah.
past multiple times
Definitely. Yeah.
to see how you explain all that. And I seem to be noticing that indeed, although you mention sometimes like amounts of years or stuff like that, like I notice a difference in how I almost feel responsible to give a time frame when I recall a memory from my mind, while you seem to be much more direct. Like you seem um, to really focus on giving the overview and
Yeah.
maybe just adding the time when it's really needed. And
Yeah.
so yeah, but I will investigate this further when when everything is
It's,
finished, and when
it's
I
interesting because I relate to what you're saying. And for me, it's always been important to not make people bored when listening to me, which requires that I don't go on and on and on and on. But I do want to give some sort of backdrop. So I tend to just put very large things in single sentences and move on, which my wife hates to bits and pieces. She's constantly correcting me, like, no, it was then and then. No, it was there and there. No, that happened in the wrong order. I'm like, yeah,
that
okay.
happens in my family in the reverse order. I'm the
Yeah,
one doing what your wife does. It's so
yeah.
interesting.
And it's absolutely correct, but it's missing the point I'm trying to make, which is I'm just here telling a story.
Okay, that's really interesting. That's really
Yeah,
interesting. Let me think if I have any more, because right now I have finished the more life-oriented questions. So
yeah,
I'm thinking if I forgot anything or if anything comes to mind related to that.
yeah.
Mm,
Hey, sweet.
yeah, no, I think I'm pretty. I oh, I just realized, even though the first part was possibly lost, I
Yeah.
have recorded it on my hard drive, so I can still like
Hey,
I can still upload it if I need to. But
there we go.
yeah,
That
whatever.
is good.
Now I have the peace of mind,
Yeah, yeah,
the fixing of the stuff. Um, but yeah, I guess I have nothing else to ask that's very life generic.
yeah,
So the next question, which is a question that I am obsessed with this question, because this is the question that made me discover objective personality in a way.
yeah,
Because I started at some point doing my own kind of interviewing. I'm trying to see the patterns in the people's speech
yeah,
before realizing that objective personality was a thing. And my go to question to find out about patterns is what are some of your favorite entertainment related content, like TV shows, movies, video games, They don't have to be like the absolute top most favorites, because for example, I don't even keep track of that, and I know a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
So I don't know, the first that come to mind, if you have any specific genre, if you go if you find for something specific, if you're more of a whatever comes to you, like that kind of stuff. If you have specific titles, as soon as you manage to not spoil people about those titles,
Yeah.
uh, perfectly, it's actually better. Like if you have specific title, wonderful. If you have generic information, still wonderful.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Types of media I enjoy. Since I was a very young kid, I have greatly enjoyed video games. I've been doing those my entire life, and I would say a lot of life has revolved around it, both in the playing of it as well as the making them, as well as the teaching and how. So yeah. Um, and particular fan favorites are the Zelda and the Final Fantasy series. And as for particular titles, I would say Majora's Mask is my favorite Zelda, and 9 is my favorite Final Fantasy. Other than
I
that, yeah,
Sorry, I have to pause you there, because like my heart just was like, you're probably one of the few people that I hear. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say that Majora's Mask is my favorite,
yeah,
but usually people always pick Ocarina of Time over Majora's Mask, and I'm like, nah, like
no, no, no.
I don't know if it's just the sleep savior in us, but the repetition in Majora's Mask, like the repeating the same 3 days,
Yeah,
is
absolutely. And figuring out everything that happens in those 3 days in
yeah,
all the
yeah.
corners of the world
I
is wonderful.
100%ed the game. I went searching for
Yeah,
all the masks, it's just
yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. I fully agree. Huh, that is
that's
fun.
yeah, that's so nice. That's so nice. But yeah, sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah,
You were saying.
yeah. Okay, okay. Aside that, I don't have particular game genres I dislike. I play most all of them. I really enjoy collectathons like the old Mario and Donkey Kong and Banjo Kazooies. I play shooters, I play adventures, I play RPGs, I play tactics. I love Final Fantasy Tactic Advanced. That's a great one. Um, but yeah, I spend a lot of time playing games. Aside from that, very much into anime. All my friends in my childhood were into anime, and so was I. I still go to anime conventions every year with my wife. Um, any favorites there? I'm not sure if any specific ones come to mind. Big fan of Tengen Toppa because of how incredibly over the top it is.
Wait, can you repeat the title?
Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann.
Okay, I don't know if I've ever heard of it.
It's it's yeah. How do I say that without spoiling?
The hardest the hardest
Yeah,
task, giving
I
a
know.
summary of an anime without actually spoiling.
It's about fighting against the power, the big power, and it turns out very very epic. Like I guess that's relatively spoilerless. Huh.
It's also very generic. But
Yeah, I mean,
I guess
yeah, I can't really help
I
myself.
guess that's kind of the tricky part.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've just finished watching Haikyuu, a volleyball anime. Not sure what's next on the list. My one of my absolute favorites is No Game No Life. It's
Okay, that's also one of my absolute favorite.
there we go then. Um, yeah, a series about like super intelligent people who enjoy winning and playing puzzles and those kind of things. I guess that's a good spoilerless way to describe that one.
Yeah. Wait, I kind of want to see if I can latch on something specific of that one.
Yeah.
Without spoiling though, because now I'm also well, I guess So a good way that I usually think about not spoiling is if you say something that is in the first episode, then you're not spoiling, because then
Yeah,
like the person gets only spoiled by the first episode. So um, like for me specifically, what I find appealing about No Game No Life, which also kind of translates in a lot of the stuff that are my favorites,
yeah,
is this very intricate mechanics of how, like, because it's not like I'm not really I don't really, I'm not really drawn towards how the characters perform, or like how the characters strategize, but like more in the strategy itself, like um
yeah,
how some pieces of the strategy have ripple effects in other rules of the anime, of the game they're playing. Like
yeah,
it's yeah, it's this constant it's this constant wanting to see how characters find loopholes
yeah,
inside of stuff.
yeah,
I would say. So I
yeah.
don't know
I
if you
get
relate
that.
to that, or if it's
That's one of the things that's also very interesting about series like Death Note and Code Geass.
yeah,
It's
I was
also very
literally
similar.
thinking about it right now.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah, and also to date, it is No Game No Life who taught me that rock paper scissors isn't a uh, perfect split in three directions. There's strategy involved in rock paper scissors, which is fascinating.
Oh yeah, I remember the scene, but I completely forgot. This is also
Yeah,
interesting. I remember the scene, but I forgot the NITI of the scene. I forgot
yeah,
how that worked. I just remember, oh yeah, haha, funny faces, and I fucked you over. That's what my brains remember.
yeah. Yeah, no, something along the lines of people only repeat themselves up to a certain point. So if you do the same move a couple times in a row, you can basically predict with quite high accuracy what their next move will be because they refuse to keep playing the same rock. And
Interesting.
it reminds me of a very old computer program. It was in high school and it was all very basic. Like, um, I think this was in the Windows 95 era, so a very long time ago. And they,
That was my first operating system, by the way.
oh, there we go then. Um, it was a very simple little program installed on the computer schools where you were allowed to press two buttons or three or four, I don't know which. And the longer you did that, the better the computer got at predicting exactly what you were going to write next.
Wow.
Yeah, and at that point, I thought it was a funny gimmick. The computer knows what I'm going to say, whatever. But now that I think back about it, that's actually quite interesting, and it
Yeah.
relates so much to the rock paper scissors strategy.
It's a much more, it's like it's a much more like, because my mind was relating this to the magic square. I don't know if you know,
Yeah,
like the square that always shows the power of twos in a
yeah,
grid, but you don't notice, and so it's like, oh, I will guess your number if you say it's in this grid, it's not in this grid, and it's just the binary combination
yeah, yeah,
of the yes and no. And it's interesting because it's kind of like that, but at the same time it's not like that, because that's actual prediction. It's
yeah,
just yeah, that's interesting.
yeah.
And like, do you have any, like, any idea of how that worked, or
I don't know how that program did it, but if I would do it, I would probably try and keep a list of a combination of two, three, or four characters in a row, um, and see how often that one appears in the entire string of
Mm.
all the characters that have been written so far
Oh, okay.
to
So
see if
you would kind of do it like almost like an AI works, where it's like the highest percentage, it's the most likely choice,
yeah,
and so you put the arrays of repetitions as the choice,
yeah,
and then yeah,
exactly.
okay, okay,
So
yeah.
that's how I
It,
would approach that.
okay, in if just for the people that are listening and are super ultra bored about the the talk that I just done, it's finished now. Don't worry. I was just curious about this specific thing. So now let's go back
Yeah,
to human land.
yeah,
And if you wanna go on again with the
yeah.
favorite stuff.
Media, favorite stuff. In terms of anime, I do enjoy the more actiony and drama and comedy over the romantic ones.
Okay.
I really enjoy the romantic ones in a manga setting, in like a book reading setting, but not so much in an anime setting. Don't know why. Preference, I guess. Um, in terms of reading, what do I enjoy reading? I'm not an avid reader. I do read, but in comparison to my wife, who reads like 2 books a week, I read a couple a year. Yeah.
I think I'm even lower than you, despite my consume being higher, because
Yeah,
my masculine, my feminine um, intuition makes it so that it's a very tedious task for me to read something and kind of visualize what I'm reading. So it's like
yeah, okay.
it's like my consume is almost exclusively audio or like audio
Yeah,
visual, because I need to be fed what my brain can't really produce
yeah, yeah,
on its
okay. That
own.
makes sense. Makes sense. Um, but I'm not an avid enough reader to really have favorite genres there.
Mm-hmm.
I read some fantasy fiction, some murder mystery, some I don't know, some story about love in Vienna in the 1900s,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, just things that happened to cross my path. Um, Almost exclusively because someone else told me this is interesting, try and read, and I'm like, okay,
I was
I'll read.
you literally caught my next question, because I was about to ask you like, are you usually a nitpicky kind of person? Do you usually go over only
No,
what you wanna do,
no,
watch, whatever? Or
very much not.
interesting.
No.
That's something that we are very opposite on.
Huh,
It shows the slightly more play on you than me.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that does make it nitpicky. When it comes to
Actually, I think it's also the wrong word. I just meant picky, not nitpicky, but whatever.
yeah, picky. Um, when it comes to video games, because it's easier for me to talk about those because I play them more. I definitely just keep trying new games till one sticks. And when a game sticks, I go all in on it. And I if I decide to play a game, then I also almost am guaranteed to play it 100%. So that's kind of what I do. Is very much the completionist sense of if I decide to do something, I will go all the way.
Interesting.
But when it comes to books, where I do not have this natural sense of this is what I like, this is what I don't like, I just on full automatic go to whatever other people tell me is interesting, and then I try it, and then I learn for myself. Was this interesting? Nah, or yeah, but um, in the realm of books, I don't go out and try and figure that one out.
Okay. And like about video games, do you find that approach that you just described, do you find that it has changed over the years, or it's stayed pretty
It
much the same?
has become more extreme over the years, in the sense of I know better what kinds of games will stick to me. So it's easier to pinpoint the ones that I can straight up go all in instead of having to first figure out, is this fun? Yeah, kinda. Is this fun? Yeah. It's easier to find games I like these days.
Okay. It's
Wait.
it's kind of, this one is really weird because I, on some things I relate, and on some other things I'm completely the opposite. Because like, as I said, I'm much more picky when it comes to what I actually want to watch or whatever. Um, and I'm not sure it's always been like this, kind of, but also not. Because like, I was, let's say that in the past, I was more prone to peer pressure. So if a bunch of friends told me, "Oh, come on, come and play this freaking game," I would go and actually play the freaking game. But then I
Yeah.
would end up not really enjoying it most of the times. In fact, I made it a rule in my life that all MOBAs and stuff like that are completely abolished from my life,
Yeah.
and there's no one that can convince me otherwise. So my TI is very solid on that,
Yeah.
even despite the femininity.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's interesting because like, again, my being play last, I don't really welcome other people opinions the same as you do, and
Yeah.
so unless a person is showing me that they somehow, how can I say, gather somewhat of an understanding of me to be able to give a prediction of what I might like. I'm not like, I'm like, you don't really know me. I think that game, I won't like that game. So,
Yeah.
and it's this very huge barrier in between me and people.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I
and
see that, and that is definitely a difference between us. Probably literally the play last thing versus not the play last thing. Before I learned about OPS, I used to describe it for myself as I'm very good at reasoning things out and knowing what I want and knowing how I got there. Um, but everything that I already know will lead me to that what I already have. And the only way for me to learn in any way is to grab other people to show me that I'm wrong.
hmm.
So if I ever want to learn, I have to not rely on myself because that part I got covered. That I'm very good at.
It's interesting. It's really interesting because like, the way I sneak out of that reasoning is that it's literally the inversion between the consume and the play. Because I'm like, well, I don't think I really need to get my information from other people. So if I kind of, don't know, go to the internet where there's a lot of people, but from the comfort of my room, I can kind of
Yeah,
triangulate and extrapolate the information even without interacting with the people. So it's, I don't know. That's really fascinating. That's really
yeah, I
fascinating.
agree. That's also the word I would use for that. Yeah,
And yeah. By the way, let me know if you need to run away because I'm noticing the timing is almost on the 3 o'clock right now.
yeah.
Um, and wait, I wanted to ask something else, but it escaped. It escaped from my mind. What was it related to? Um. Oh yeah, about the completionism and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I also have a tendency to kind of choose games that I feel like I'll be able to complete. Maybe not 100% them, but at least reach um, a conclusion point
Yeah.
in the game. And but that has kind of changed, because like in high school, because I had a lot of time, I would be okay with playing like huge games, like never-ending games like Minecraft, or
Yeah.
those kind of crafting, very time-consuming kind of games. But in the latest, I don't know, 5 to 6 years, maybe even a bit more,
Yeah.
it's like I can't, because I just feel the time slipping away from me. And so I'd rather have a game that I know has a beginning point and a finishing point.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that's also what you were trying to say, or if you were referring exclusively to the achievements, maybe, kind of things, or.
Hmm. I'm not sure if I was referring to specifically that part, like achievements and getting everything, but I do have a very hard time playing endless games in general. Because it's very directionless, and that just gives me a hard time. I would love to enjoy Minecraft and Animal Crossing and those kinds of things, and I frequently try, and I just run stuck on them. The
Mhm.
first time around is incredible. A game like Terraria, figuring out what all is possible, how deep you can go, where you can go, what all the secrets are. But once I figured that part out and going into the creative section of the game, like, yeah, I can do that, no problem. I am creative. I know how to make pretty things, but I'm not drawn to it. Um, so games like MMOs, like Final Fantasy 14, I love playing. I really sit down and give myself a very specific goal for the next few months, like get
Mm,
all jobs to max level, or get
okay.
all achievements in this section of the game, or explore this entire whatever. Um, and I do that, and I grind it down, and I go absolutely ham on it, throwing all the time I have at it. And when I have that done, the game is done, and I leave it alone for a while again.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. For example, I also like, even the thing you just described now about putting yourself some kind of goal to not have the game be just an endless kind of it's something in that case. I also avoid that. Like, for example, I also dropped most MMOs, most games like Genshin Impact. I try to like start it, play a little bit, but it's just the grinding. I can't artificially put myself a goal to, I don't know, do something specific in the game. It's
yeah,
just the games that I play, unless, I guess the only exception to that, weirdly, very, very weirdly, is Euro Truck Simulator.
yeah.
I
Okay,
started
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I started playing Euro Truck Simulator some time ago, and I actually dropped it. I haven't played it in, I don't know, 2 months, 3 months, also
yeah.
because I'm very focused on this OP stuff, and so I'm not playing freaking games. But yeah, if I don't have the feeling that I can visualize the percentage of where I am in the game,
Yeah.
I feel very put off from the
Yeah,
game.
relatable. Yeah,
And because, for example, in Euro Truck Simulator, like I my goal with that game is like doing the achievements and maybe visiting all the cities, and I can see the cities, I can see the achievements. But like in an MMO, it's always like, oh, we're adding this quest side of extension, where the go and look for the things, and you don't know what you'll find, and it's just, and I have to do a lot of grinding in between that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I don't know if that's a difference still, in the fact that I'm double activated sleep, and so I can't just go and do stuff, or if there's something else to it. Maybe it might also be the um, the feminine sleep, and so the fact that I can't, because I also find very tedious to remember all the equipments, all the stuff like that. I hate games where I have to strategize over what to do next. Like I just want to go in the game, explore, um, either doing the same thing or not doing the same thing, not much of the difference, but I don't want to be learning how to master the game in a sense.
Oh,
I just,
I really do. Yeah,
yeah,
very
that's
much a difference. Yeah,
okay. Yeah, that was what I was trying to investigate in what you
yeah,
said.
yeah. In stuff like Monster Hunter, it's also really a favorite of mine. I have
And that
huge spreadsheets where I track everything I'm collecting and what I'm still missing and where to go next and how to get that. Where do I go in the game to optimize that and really grind down those times so it becomes faster and I become better at it, etc., etc., etc.
that's, for example, another game that I dropped very quickly. Like
Oh,
it lasted a
hundreds of
few
hours.
missions. It's
Yeah,
just that's so interesting. That's so
yeah,
interesting. Yeah, yeah. No, the because, for example, if I had to choose some of my favorite games, um, most of them are like kind of very one-sided exploration games. One example is Grow Home. I don't know if you know what game is Grow Home. It's like a little robot that uses its arms to go on a plant.
right.
It's a very, like, I don't know how many years ago the game was, but like, it's that game is literally, you are this robot, you go in and you go up this plant and you collect stuff in the map, and that's it. And once you've done that, the game is over. It's
Oh, that looks
and that's
adorable.
one of my favorite games. It's
Yeah, I get that. Oh, I might pick it up as well. Huh.
and another similar game is A Short Hike.
Yeah.
That also has some more emotional sides to it, but still pretty much the same thing. It's a singular map. You have to explore it. You have to collect feathers and other
Yeah.
stuff, and that's it. And then the game is over. It's that those are genuinely my favorite types of game. Just knowing that I can roam around freely, not thinking about anything, and just knowing that I have to do three things: collect this, collect that, and end the story. Period.
Oh, that is wonderful. No, I played those kinds of games very little, but it looks beautiful. Huh.
It's very interesting.
Yeah,
It's
I'll look
very
into it.
interesting. So yeah, that's also why I really wanted to do this interview, because I really also, apart from me understanding the differences between us, also want people to be able to understand the differences between such a close type and
Yeah.
yet such high contrasts
Yeah,
in
definitely.
some stuff. And I don't know if you were finishing any other stuff about favorite stuff. Like, I don't know if I paused you
Hmm,
in any specific point.
not really. Let me catch my train of thought.
Maybe if you wanted
Uh,
to mention TV series and movies. I don't know.
yeah, TV series and movies.
Or, and by the way, if you want to, because I know it's late. Like, if you prefer
Yeah,
to.
the kids are still.
Oh, okay.
This one is satisfied, and the other one hasn't started crying yet, so he's still
Okay.
asleep.
Okay.
So
Great.
I'm good. In terms of series, I watch a lot of long-running fantasy sci-fi related series. Like, yeah, now you're catching me on the sensory.
Doctor Who.
Yeah, Doctor Who, among others. I've seen Supernatural. I've seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The whole Star Trek series. Um,
This is already like the ones you're mentioning. You're doing this with me, and you.
yeah. Mm, and I am very sure many more, but it won't come to me.
Because so this is interesting. The ones you mentioned, I feel like are very mainstream, kind of.
Yeah,
And so I guess it really shows your double activated FE in that.
yeah. I do not mind mainstream at all, even
Yeah.
as a big
Well,
TI.
let's say in a sense I also don't mind mainstream. Like I'm not the kind of person, oh, if it's mainstream it must be
Yeah.
trash. But I definitely have a bias
Oh,
towards like
I
if it
love Disney and Marvel and Pixar and those kinds of things. It's wonderful.
that's the thing though. I also like them. Like for example, I like a lot of Disney movies. I
Yeah,
like a lot. I've seen some Marvel movies. I haven't seen them all, but
yeah,
I
I have.
like they are nice movies.
Yeah,
But there's just something that like when they are over, I don't know. It's like again, I think it's just the double activated sleep, but it's like my sleep box is crying. It's like, why did you put this in here? We don't want it.
right.
It's like,
Yeah,
it's so I don't know. It's not that I don't like them. It's just that I don't feel the same. I don't know. I don't feel the savior crack addiction hitting
yeah,
with those,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is very different from other stuff. Like all the stuff that I like the most, it's either very niche
yeah,
or stuff that maybe it's not niche, but it's still not as much mainstream as other stuff. Like for
yeah,
example, let me think about some titles. Sagrado Reset. There's an anime called Sagrado Reset.
yeah.
I haven't met a single person that knows this anime. I
Nope.
haven't, and it's literally, if it's not the top most favorite, it's definitely top three
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And but I also see why people would not like it because it's not like it has some drawbacks. For example, one FI friend
Yeah,
watched it and he was like, the characters are not really well developed," which is translation for I don't really see the FI in this.
yeah, yeah,
And I mean, it was like, yeah, okay, I agree. It's just that I don't care about that. Like, I don't track that. And if you want like a quick overview, Sagrada Reset, it's about this city where the people that are born inside this city have superpowers.
yeah,
And oh yeah, and there's this like rule that when you leave the city, you either forget about the powers or I don't remember.
yeah.
There's some shenanigan going on like that. And the main character has the power that he cannot forget things.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
complex.
And that's not even the main thing. That's the main character. The other main character, because there are two main characters, is a girl that
Yeah,
has the power to reset time, hence the name Sagrada Reset. But the problem is that when she reset the times, she also resets herself. So she cannot remember that she reset the time. So there's a guy that cannot forget and a girl that resets time but cannot remember that she reset the time. And this, like the
yeah,
city combined with these two powers, creates a huge stuff. And of course, there's
yeah,
conspiracies behind
yeah,
that, and that's what I fucking love. Like it's like if a media does not have this very good intricacy, like if I don't see that the person was obsessed by the TI inside of the media,
yeah,
I'm just like I can like it, I can appreciate the work put into it, but I can't. It doesn't give me that. Oh yes, yes.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's fascinating because if I am looking for new series, I grab any random top 10 list and I picked the top one because there's a very good chance I'll like it.
Wow.
And usually I
Wow.
do, because why else would it be in the top 10?
That's so interesting. Like it's so beautiful to see how much the double activation counts despite
Yeah,
your lead function.
yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah, very much. I agree. I agree.
Oh my god, that's so wow. Wow. I'm loving this interview.
Yeah,
It's
great.
it's really, really great. And oh, I also noticed your other cat right now.
Yeah, this one has been in my face for a while, and the other
Yeah, yeah,
one
no,
has
but I mean the
on
gray
the
one
table for a
behind you.
while. Yeah, that's weird. On attention. I always want attention. This one.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me think if I have anything else to add on top of that. Um, yeah, no, I think this is pretty much it. Like as much as I'm concerned, this interview, it's a 9 out of 10, definitely.
I loved
At
it.
least,
I had
at,
a lot of fun.
at least a 9 out of 10. It gave me a very great insight on our differences.
Yeah. Well, likewise. Thank you for inviting me.
So I think I have nothing else to ask you. If I don't know if you recall anything else that you want to add, feel free.
Yeah, I'm trying to check if there's anything we talked about we haven't.
Oh, actually, I have another question.
Yeah.
Always related to liking stuff, liking media and stuff like that. How do you feel about, how can I say? Because you said that you have like you don't really have problems with getting recommendations.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel when? Well, actually, it's not even a question. Now that I realize it, it's kind of more of a statement. Because I was thinking about when people like the same stuff,
Yeah.
but when you actually find yourself explaining why you like that with another person that likes the same thing, it's almost as if you're like you're watching a different thing, because like the other person likes the same thing for completely different reason, which is exactly why I started asking this question for
Yeah.
typing, because it
Yeah.
really shows what the person is processing inside of a media.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, do you remember any anecdote about people telling you stuff and you were like, oh, actually that's not why I like that, why?
Um. Let's see. I don't know if specifically that. I don't think I have an answer to that question, but it does throw me back to I really enjoy um, any type of media that has a very well built world in it, in the sense of where you can feel that whatever the main characters are doing, the rest of the world is currently moving as well, instead of it's just about the main characters and time stands still for everyone else.
Okay.
Um, and what I really love about that specifically is being able to talk about and think about and share about that world with the people around me. It's not so much that I want to be able to talk about the story, but about everything that could happen in that particular place.
Hmm.
Um, does that relate to the question you asked?
I guess it does.
In a
I guess it does
sense,
because
yeah,
I'm kind of comparing myself, so I
yeah,
I'm creating the answer to the question through me
yeah, 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 yeah.
and the comparison. Um, yeah, it's interesting because I somewhat relate to some of that. Like I relate to the let's say the feeling of wanting to expand on the world of some media that you like. Like, in fact, I also I don't know if you ever do this, but I have a lot of fantasies sometimes about the, I don't know, imagining myself inside of those stories. And like that, this is actually okay, wait. This is actually super interesting.
Yeah.
um because I think this is related to the socials. So I imagine myself a lot trying to save the characters inside of the stories. Like when something bad happens, I have like constant fantasies about, I don't know, having a portal gun, entering the freaking world. Oh, that guy is lying to you and is the evil guy. You should stay away from them. And I don't know why my brain keeps going to that kind of fantasy. And I think it's related to my number oneism, like the need to
Yeah.
lead someone and save the world, uh, like in every situation by actually literally leading people away from a situation. So I wonder if you have like any fantasies like that, maybe not with the same attitude, but with a different context, or I don't know.
Yeah. No, let's see. For starters, no, I
Okay.
don't have fantasies of going into the world and being the main character and saying, what I do is I really love the strength, the power, the tenacity of the main characters.
Hmm.
And I very much do my best to figure out what drives them to take that home, to take it out of the world into myself. On the one hand, and on the other, um, I do with some frequency imagine myself in random real life scenarios where I'm the hero and I'm doing superpower dodges and fights and martial arts whatevers. Um, and it's a form of stress release, I guess, a form of violence release. So because if I imagine it in all its glory, I don't have to actually go and do it because the valve has been what's the phrase? I don't know. But no, I don't think I have ever imagined myself going into a fantasy world and being the hero there. So that's interesting.
Hmm. Okay, that's interesting indeed. Well, I also have some fantasies related to, similar to you, to the actual real world, but I would like I don't think I do much of, as you described, the kind of karate powers. It's more it's more a generic kind of heroic actions, like, I don't know, a car is coming and pushing someone on the side. It's like
Yeah,
maybe kind of like that.
yeah,
But that's interesting. I wonder if there's a pattern in this kind of difference in me going inside the imagination world and you taking the imagination in the real world. I
yeah,
don't. Yeah, it's uh I mean, because like if someone asks me about superpowers, then yes, I guess my mind also goes into, oh yeah, it would be awesome,
yeah,
fucking teleporting around,
yeah,
and I,
yeah,
I
yeah.
start thinking how I would use that. But like randomly throughout my day, uh, I actually don't know. I think I do, I think maybe I do it sometimes,
Yeah,
but it's, I don't know. I feel like it's something, those kind of thoughts that just
yeah,
like blink into your mind and you don't really
yeah,
pay attention to them and you let them go. I think that's why I'm not recalling how much I do that.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't really know about that. I think this is, of all the things we said right now, this is the most wobbly, let's say.
Yeah.
But yeah, great stuff, great stuff. Did you want to conclude with something else on this line, or are you?
No, not really. I just realized that most of those fantasies involve bullet time of some sort, which is interesting but not really relevant.
Like bullet time in the sense of actual bullets, like shooting
No,
and.
like everything slows down and perfect sensory. Hey,
Oh,
everything slows down. I notice everything happening the moment it's happening. Those kind of things.
oh, interesting. Yeah, it's good that it's in the video, but I have nothing to say about this because I have
Yeah, exactly,
no idea.
exactly. Yeah,
Maybe I'll get some crazy. Oh my God, this is totally this coin
yeah.
stuff. But yeah. So yeah, great talk. It's been really nice getting to know you through the questions.
Thank
This
you
is
very much.
great material. I will take the chance to say for people that are listening or will be watching, if anyone is interested in being interviewed like this, feel free to contact me on Discord if you're in any server that I'm in. You can send me a DM. You can talk to me if I have any specific thread going on. And just ask me. Right now, I prefer fully shaved people. Of course, not the hairy kind of
Yeah,
shaving, but the Dave and Shan kind of shaving. And but yeah, we can also talk about it and see if anything fits despite my needs and whatever. So again, thank you for being here and joining this very technically challenging stream. And yeah, wish you a great day. Hope you don't get too drained and that you actually manage to sleep.
right. Very well. Thank you very
Oh,
much. This was wonderful. You did great,
thank you.
and I enjoyed it.
Great. That's all that counts. Wait, before you close the call, let me change the scene because I don't want weird stuff popping around on the view. So if I do this, okay, this is great. Even if it's a bit weird, but it's great. Okay, thank you again for being here, and thank everyone for watching. And yeah, great stuff. See you on Discord, and good luck with your with your situation.
Right. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Okay, I'm still live, and the live will be cut